Hi, everyone. My name is Diane, and I'm an admissions representative with Kansas State University Online. I want to start by thanking everyone for joining us tonight to learn more about our personal financial planning graduate programs. I'm joined by the program coordinator, Tira Diamond, and department chair, Dr. Martin C. Tira and Dr. C are going to spend the next 30 minutes or so giving us a presentation about this program and the last 10 to 15 minutes answering questions. Throughout the duration of this presentation, we will be monitoring the chat feature and answering questions as they are being asked. Some of your questions may be saved until the end for Tira and Dr. C to answer. And if you could now please take a few seconds to locate the chat feature and answer the question that you will see on your screen, as we would love to learn a little bit more about you. And I will give you a minute to do so now.
So thank you all. Once again, please go ahead and share information about yourself in the chat. I'd love to get to know you a little bit and help us understand exactly who is here today. My name is Martin C., and I am the department head of the Personal Financial Planning Department. And we just want to share a little bit with you today about the financial planning programs, the different paths that are available, and then here to answer any questions that you might have. So a little bit at a higher level, just want to talk about financial planning in general. And this is something we share that, if you could imagine the perfect profession, there might be a couple of ingredients that you think about. The first is the opportunity to help people and have an impact on your community. And there's not a lot of opportunities or paths to do this, but imagine you could have that and then also have an opportunity to have a high income, an opportunity to have high flexibility. And that also, hey, there's this great job where you can have a huge impact, but there's also lots of opportunity. And it just so happens that as it stands right now, financial planning is a place that you can complete all of these things. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we view what we think financial planning is. And I'm going to talk a little bit about career paths, and I'm going to talk specifically about some of our course content. I know we have some folks here that maybe this is their first venture into financial planning and they're interested in the CFP content. We have some that are existing practitioners that maybe are even existing CFP practitioners that are interested in sort of our advanced track. And we also, I know, have some folks that are interested in the doctoral program. So we'll get to them all. So I started to start with a definition, but I'll give it to you. So financial planning is a collaborative process that helps maximize a client's potential for meeting life goals through financial advice that integrates relevant elements of a client's personal and financial circumstances. A couple of things here that I always want to highlight, because I think they end up being hallmarks of our program at K-State, is first, a collaborative process. If you come to K-State and take courses through us, we're going to talk a lot about client communication skills, a lot of how to put yourself on the same side of the table as a client, understand their goals, and help them move towards that. The second thing that I love about this is financial planning is about helping clients meet life goals. It's not about, really, it's not about money in and of itself. And so we have this goals-based lens that we apply, trying to help clients meet those life goals. And the last is we talk about integrating all relevant elements of a client's situation. So it's no longer just about, financial planning is not just about investments. Can't look at that alone. You got to look with it in the context of client's overall financial picture in terms of their retirement assets, in terms of tax savings, in terms of ensuring legacy wishes are held with estate planning. So as I said, so many things come together in financial planning, whether it's as simple as helping the client budget, and even with a lot of clients, high net worth clients, you'll have conversations about helping them not spend more than they need to, really all over the place in terms of what you can do. But financial planning also isn't a straight line. It's not a path. We view it as a puzzle piece. And with each different client, you're going to help create their own special picture that aligns with their specific goals. That's what makes financial planning so challenging, but also so rewarding, because it's only through conversations you understand exactly what it is what that client wants. And so You get lots of technical knowledge, but really that's just giving you a skill set to apply it to each unique situation. Next thing we say is really financial planning is lifestyle design. It's helping people align their time, money, and talent with helping them make sure they're meeting their goals. In terms of engaging with clients, we sort of view it that you will help provide clients the organization, the confidence, and the accountability to follow through on their financial plan. So if it's not obvious, we view a collaborative relationship really focused on helping the client get where they want to go. Good news is there's jobs everywhere, all across the country on this. You can be in a small town and you can find a job. You could be in a big town and you can find a job. And there's increasingly virtual jobs all over the place where you can find quality opportunities to apply your wares and to affect clients' lives. This goes from the top left, which is more entrepreneurial driven, where you're going typically as part of a larger firm and building your own team and driving it, to the right, which is where a lot of the growth is in the RIA space, where it's independent, maybe a smaller firm. You can find all sorts of jobs in accounting and tax firms. And then the bottom is also where there's a lot of growth. Places like Vanguard, places like robo-advisors, and don't get me wrong, robo-advisors are not robo-advisors anymore. They're layering on humans, they're layering on financial advice. And so there's opportunities all throughout the landscape, depending on your skill set, depending on where you are, and depending on how you want to interact with clients. So what we typically see as a career path, if you're one of those that is just dipping their toes into financial planning, is the majority of graduates out of programs oftentimes start more in a paraplanner role, although we do have a number that will start in sort of an advisor, go and seek advice. But in this paraplanner role, your job is actually competency. They're looking for individuals that can serve the advisors, help provide content to those advisors and help them move forward. As you move on, you'll become a lead advisor while you manage clients of your own. Typically we see with master students, it's often far quicker. With undergraduates, it's maybe 3 to 5 years in the competency model, up to the financial planner model where you're leading teams and clients. And as you go along, you'll get more responsibility and you will be in charge of driving clients to your business. So what does it pay? This is a little old now. I think it's 2017 data related to advisor compensation. And we view this it all depends on the region. So depending on your cost of living area, this may be higher or lower. But this is what you can expect as you move through it. The other thing that I would really point out here related to the career path is if you start out at one of the junior roles, lower percent is tied to compensation or incentive bonuses. As you move, it's going to be higher, and your compensation is going to be tied more and more to the clients you're managing and you're bringing to the firm. Some advisors want to do that and will move that. Some advisors want to be a specialist. They want to provide financial advice for a firm, financial planning advice for the firm, and that all fits. Just got to understand your personality and your drive. And the good news is there is huge demand for this content all over. So it's always good to be getting a skill set that is in demand and that is rewarded. So let's say you already have, you're an existing advisor, maybe you already have your CFP, or you're interested in a master's degree and you know you need the CFP content, but you're trying to figure out what you're going to layer onto that. Well, the good news is Kansas State is one of really only 3 programs nationally that has targeted content beyond the CFP exam that's really catered around financial planning and helping you serve your clients better. And we do this through 2 separate tracks. The first track is our financial therapy certificate, our financial therapy track. And to us, financial therapy is a blend of financial planning, marriage and family therapy, and psychology. We view this as client-centered training that helps you better serve your clients. We view it as helping you understand a client's psyche, helping you understand their relationship with money, what's driving them, their motivations around decisions, and then giving you the tools to help them understand their perspectives and help them drive clients to action. Most importantly, action that aligns with their goals. You know, we talk a lot about it's important to have the right recommendation, but it literally doesn't matter if the client doesn't follow it. That's where good advice goes to die, is when it gets to the implementation stage. And the better you are able to work with clients, understand their perspectives, and give them advice that gets them to action, the better off you're going to be. And we view that as the focus of this financial therapy track. The second track that we have is our advanced financial planning track. And the CFP content is great. It's wide and deep, but there's a lot more that you'll need as a financial planner once you get into practice. And for us, this is targeted technical content that's going to allow you to better evaluate and determine client recommendations, especially in more advanced or complex scenarios. So this is going to be coursework in advanced estate planning, advanced retirement planning. We'll talk a little bit, Tira will talk a little bit more about it, but we're going to add an advanced tax planning class. Between those three, if you choose this track, our focus is to give you the baseline knowledge you would need to sit for the enrolled agent exam. So you don't have to sit for the enrolled agent, but we're trying to give you the opportunity to come in, get what you need for the CFP, get what you need for the behavioral, and also give you the opportunity to be prepared for the enrolled agent exam. Lastly, we are going to, we overline that with some practice management content. Financial planning is both how you work with clients, but you also have to manage your business. Overall, we view this as building upon CFP content to provide practical insight into more complex client scenarios. So some of you here, though, are interested in a PhD, and we're going to share more about that. And I really, with a PhD program, it's really important to understand fit. Both, do you understand what a PhD really is? And guys, it's a research degree. You got to be willing to lean in, spend some time in statistics, research and methods. But our program is designed, targeted, helps certain research questions better than it helps others. So in our case, one of the things I might share, have you ever wondered why clients do what they do? Have you ever wondered why Americans seem to struggle so much with finances? Do you want to teach? If those are the types of questions you're asking the behavioral side, that speaks to exactly what we do in our PhD program. So I talk about our PhD program as really focused on developing the skills necessary to conduct and understand research into client behavior. So let me tease that out a little bit. To me, there are really two tracks in the research that you're seeing in financial planning. One track is focused on what is the right behavior. If you read things like the Journal of Financial Planning, this might be what's the optimal retirement withdrawal rate, what's the optimal investment strategy, what's the optimal recommendation. That's really not our focus here. Our focus is, why do clients do what they do, and how can we change that behavior? And the reason I'm making that distinction is it's actually, in many cases, a different skill set that you have to be trained for. And it's not that one is right or the other. It's just one is where we specialize and where we're best able to serve students within this program. Related to this program, we see our graduates use the skills in a variety of different ways. Actually 2 years ago was our 10-year anniversary. We had 38 graduates. Half were in academia, half were in practice. We're probably trending a little bit more towards academia, but that includes tenure track jobs at places like Texas Tech. So teaching and researching. It includes teaching full-time at a smaller university that's teaching focused. It includes folks that are maintaining their practices and adjuncting on the side. It includes individuals that are at large firms, and they are serving as the director of research, helping to train the advisors throughout the firm and helping them understand best practices. all of those, I think we set you up for here. The other thing I would share is there is huge demand among universities for individuals to teach financial planning content. There are jobs here as well. So with that kind of laid out in terms of our focus areas, I'm going to turn it over to Tierra, who'll talk a little bit more about our program, maybe why K-State, and a little bit more of the details. So T, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I see we have people literally from all over the United States and other countries as well. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for hopping on the webinar. So as Dr. C mentioned, we have essentially four programs in the graduate side of things here at K-State. We have financial therapy graduate certificate, personal financial planning graduate certificate, master's degree, and then also the doctoral degree. So we'll talk a little bit more in detail about each one of those. But first of all, why K-State? Why should you choose K-State? So our faculty is really committed to the students and the program. They're all very well nationally known and leaders in the field of financial planning, financial behavior, financial therapy. They're all fabulous to work with. They're just great. They're really dedicated and really give their all to the program. So even though it's a distance program, we're still all here, ready to support the students that are in the program. I'm the main contact for the grad students. So in terms of just advising what courses to take, you may have certain forms that need to be filled out. You may just need help pointed in the right direction of an office here on campus that you just don't know, it exists or what the contact is. So I'm your main contact for that. So that's really helpful that you're not calling around trying to figure out somebody to help. We also have Brittany and Diane at Global Campus that provide student support. And then we also have the grad school, of course, that has some people in there that will help students too. So there's definitely plenty of student support so that you don't feel like you're, out in outer space kind of doing this on your own. Along with that, our students move through the program in a cohort. So you'll get used to the people in your classes. You'll hopefully see them on Zoom. Sometimes our students will even have study groups because you'll just get really used to the people that are in each class because they'll move through the program with you. So it really works well for networking and just helping each other out when it's appropriate. For our master's and then our 2 certificate programs, the courses are 8 weeks in length. So essentially students take 2 courses a semester, but only 1 at a time. The professors do lecture live over Zoom once a week. And of course it's encouraged for you to attend live, but if you can't, that's okay. It's not mandatory. The professors will record the sessions and then post them to the Canvas course so you can watch at your convenience. And again, it just works really well. Almost all of our students are working full time and have other obligations, whether it's family or just other things going on. And so concentrating on, that one class and knowing that there's that live component, if you can make it, is great. But knowing that if you can't make it, if something comes up, a meeting or whatever, that it's okay, that you can just watch that recorded session. So the personal financial planning graduate certificate does meet the educational requirements to sit for the CFP exam, the Certified Financial Planner exam. Students can sit for that exam as soon as they successfully complete all 6 courses. So even if you're mid-program, you can still sit for that exam if you wish. And we are also an educational partner with AFCPE, which means that our students are also eligible to sit for the AFC exam or the Accredited Financial Counselor exam. All right, next slide. Okay, so the Master's in Personal Financial Planning, it's 3 tracks and you pick 2 to complete the degree. Again, all coursework is online. It consists of 10 courses and 30 credit hours. The PFP graduate certificate, that's the 6 courses that will allow you to sit for the CFP exam. You can take that program just as a standalone certificate. No problems there. Like I said, after you take those 6 classes, you can sit for the exam. It takes 14 months to complete that program. The other program that you're looking at on the screen is financial therapy. That's also a standalone grad certificate, but you can take that as part of the master's degree. You'll earn the certificate even if you are in the master's program. If you pick that track, you'll earn that certificate. We like for people to have a little bit of the base fundamental knowledge of personal financial planning. If you've taken a personal financial planning course in your past, or you're a CFP or an AFC, then you do not need to take the prereq, which is PFP 105. But if you are if you haven't taken a basic personal finance class, then we do have you take that one first. And then the courses that are with that program are the Intro to Financial Therapy, Money and Relationships, Applied Behavioral Finance, and Financial Therapy Theory and Research. And then the third track that you could choose from would be the Advanced Planner track. It is designed for the existing CFP professional. But we do at times have people that will partner the CFP coursework along with the Advanced Planner coursework. If you are a CFP professional and you choose the Advanced Planner track with the Financial Therapy track, then there's actually 6 courses that you have to take along with the 4 Financial Therapy courses. So the classes would be Advanced Estate Planning, Advanced Retirement, Professional Practices. It says Ethics and Mediation in here, but really that content is going to be shifted into another course. So we will have the Advanced Tax option here. And then the electives, so the 2 additional courses beyond those 4 would be Foundations of Leadership, Conflict Resolution, Case Studies. On occasion, if we have a student that's interested in the PhD program and they really want to do a research class, we have another option that they can select if that's kind of their path. Okay, so the PhD in Personal Financial Planning. This is a hybrid program. It's ran in cohorts. Our cohort numbers range anywhere from 6 students to 12, but typically the number in the middle there is kind of what we go for. It kind of just depends on how many students we have graduate and how many are in coursework versus how many are in the dissertation, the research writing phase. So fall and spring semester coursework is completely online. The PhD courses are a full semester, so they'll go the 16 weeks. Students are expected to be on those live sessions once a week. Usually they meet for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, but all students are expected to be on those online course sessions for the PhD work. Fall, spring semester online, we have a 2-week summer intensive that students come to for the first 3 years. We usually hold that the first 2 full weeks of August. This past summer, we were mandated to do it online, but we're hoping to be back in person in August because it's really a great time. It's wonderful networking for the students. They get to meet and be around all of us and ask questions and really just kind of dive into the PhD program and network with each other as well, get to know each other. So it works really great. We love those 2 weeks in August. It's a 90 credit hour program. The graduate school will allow 30 credits to transfer in, but there are certain requirements. We don't have a lot of wiggle room with certain categories of classes. So it's probably best if you contact me with your 30 credits that you might want to transfer in just to make sure that it's going to match up there. The deadline to apply to the program is always December 1st, and then the start date is always the following summer. So if you would like to be considered for the summer 2021 cohort, you must apply by this December 1st. Students can complete the degree in 4 to 4.5 years. We do have students complete that fast, but they definitely need to be disciplined and really determined to, do their research and writing and work until it's done.
Yeah, Tia, I think that's a typo. They can complete in 3.5 years. They would start in the summer, potentially graduate in December of their 4th year.
Yes.
So it's possible. More common is 4 years.
Yes. Yep, that's right. All right, so the current tuition is right around $2,100 for a 3-credit-hour graduate level course. The books just kind of depends on which track you're taking. The CFP content books, students can order them from anywhere. A lot of our students order from Money Education. So you can go on moneyeducation.com and click on the textbooks, and you can kind of get a good feel for the cost of books. They offer new, used, and digital. So just kind of depending on what you want to do there. Scholarships, Global Campus does offer some scholarships that we do encourage students that are interested in applying for every term if they would like. There's also some national scholarships that you may qualify for. You can look at the CFP board website. They have a really, really large list of scholarships that you might be interested in. And then of course, anytime anyone shares a scholarship opportunity with us at a program level, we always make sure to send those out to the students so that they are aware of those opportunities. If you want to apply, there's several ways you can do that. You can see the online.k-state.edu, or you can go to our site. There's also a button to apply now, or you can go to the grad school, K-State grad school. There's several different ways you can fill out that application. But it's fairly simple. The application process is pretty easy. And again, I can be your main contact person if you're going through that application process and you have questions. Please feel free to reach out to me or Brittany or Diane. We can all help you get going with that. So.
Yeah, T, I'll just round out a little bit on the application process. I know we've started to get some questions there. So the master's level and certificates is a pretty straightforward process of going in and applying. It's a lot of completing, getting your transcripts in and making sure you get letters of recommendation. We do require 3 letters of recommendation, so it's make sure you get folks that can get it in. And beyond that, related to the PhD program, it is a little bit more involved. We do require quite a bit of writing that's a component of that, as well as either a GRE or a GMAT exam. If you're having problems getting a test in, let Tiara know. We're trying to work with folks in this environment to make sure. But please make sure you work with Tiara and let her know that is an issue. Related to the exam, I always like to say to folks, the exam, the test score is just one of many elements. We're looking for programmatic fit. So study, do well on the exam, but don't overthink the exam. Where we really focus a lot on is that written commentary, trying to figure out sort of what's your alignment with the program in terms of your research interest, your research objectives, and how are we best fit in terms of supporting you. We want to make sure we have that right alignment, that you're getting what you think you're getting from us, and that we have the best ability to train you to what you need. Tiara, anything else that you want to say about that application?
Yes, just the PhD application for the writing that he's talking about and all of the other things that are required for that, that can be found on our page. There's a link. Sometimes people miss the link, but there's a number of things listed that's required for the application packet. And it says, there's a little kind of link in there that says the 10-page paper. And that's where you'll click to go to a PDF then that'll tell you basically the things that they're looking for in that paper. The other thing, when Dr. C mentioned the GMAT or the GRE, we are accepting the online version of that test. And so just know that that's an option if you can't get to a testing center as well.
Tiara, can you directly address the question about whether all applications materials are due by December 1st?
So just the PhD materials are due by December 1st. If you is that what you're asking about, is the PhD program? I missed that. But yes, it is a deadline that we do hold. So December 1st is when we'd like to have all of the materials in. The only thing that we will occasionally grant exceptions on would be like that test score. But we like to have that. We like to know when that's scheduled for and then when to expect those results. But everything will be evaluated by the PhD committee in December. And so December 1st is the deadline that we like to stick with.
And we welcome questions. A couple other things that I would add, Tiara. So the master's programs are rolling admission. So you could even start in January if you so chose. There's a cohort that would start at that time. I would get on that. We can move it pretty quickly. And Tony, I think I'm answering your question now. You can apply today. Really, it'd be best if you have it in by December 1st, because that would allow time for it to go through the process. As things get closer to the holidays, it slows down. So Tiara, I would suggest December 1st, really for the PhD, it's a hard deadline. For the certificate programs and the masters, I would use that as a target. It's possible to be a little bit later, but then it gets a little messy depending on how things move.
And the one thing, let me add on to that, as Tony did mention here that he's interested in the financial therapy certificate. That application is a little bit less time intensive because you do not have to have references for that one. And so that one, I can kind of get that pushed through relatively quickly. But again, if you're kind of close to that December 1st deadline for any of these programs and you're wanting to start in the spring, I encourage you to send me an email and let me know. So then that way I can kind of keep track of it in the system. We can do things to help in terms of if maybe 2 reference letters have come in, but not the 3rd one, we can help you change that email address to a different person that maybe has more time to complete the reference for you. So if you send me an email, then that's always good because I can kind of watch where you're at as it moves through to the completion process.
Thanks, T. There's I see a question from Joel, which I'm going to answer. There's a quicker one to answer behind that, and Joel, I'm coming right back to you. So no, we do require a valid GMAT or GRE score, and I believe that's what the GMAT and GRE set that timings the last 3 years or last 5, Tiara, do you remember?
It's 5, the last 5 years.
The last 5 years. So that is a requirement that we do hold fast on. Once again, we are willing to work with you a little bit in this environment related to getting that in on time. We understand testing centers are a bit challenging. They are allowing you to do it actually at home these days with a number of those. So there is some flexibility there. There is no minimum score. It's one piece of information that we look for. So there is no minimum score there. It's just a screening criteria. Related to career prospects, there's actually a little bit of benefit in this profession to having a little gray in terms of building trust with clients. There's a number of firms that are out there that would absolutely love to have an individual with real life experience come in. If you are eligible for the CFP exam, I think they would really love that if you can sit and pass it. But from our experiences, there would be significant demand for somebody 50, 55 coming into this profession. There will be certain firms that may like you more than others, but I do see significant demand for that. Tiara, would you agree?
Yes, and sometimes I know, depending on what career field you're changing from, there may be a slight drop in pay, but that's usually made up very quickly once you're in that firm and you've gained a little bit more experience with them. Wouldn't you say, Dr. C?
Yep. It all depends on the role that you go in. But yes, there might be a drop initially with high income potential. A couple more questions about the PhD program. So decisions related to the PhD program. So just so you know, if you apply to the PhD program, it won't be a cold admit. We do have a Zoom meeting criteria, Zoom process that does unfold. We'll start that in December. It varies a little bit. Our goal, Tiara, I think is probably by the end of January for final decisions to be made. But that process will move forward. Related to the 8-week courses, so a little bit of clarification here. All the PhD classes are full semester, It's just the master's classes that are 8 weeks. Related to the master's classes, you will basically, from when you enter the program, you're going to be in a class for 8 weeks, off for a week or two, class for 8 weeks, maybe it's Christmas break, in a class for 8 weeks, off for a week or two, class for 8 weeks. So it will continue along in those cycles. You will not, unless you're a PhD student that needs to take some of that coursework, have overlapping courses unless you choose to do so. Related to workload, it varies a little bit, both on your experience and how much you want to engage in the class. For example, investments is often a class where students think investments in a state are classes that oftentimes students spend more time in as they are preparing. A class, oftentimes the financial therapy classes take a little bit less time because there's less memorizing that's required relative to some of those CFP contents. Tara, do you have an approximation on the hours per week for those classes?
Yes, 8 to 10 hours is typically what students need to kind of put aside to study and read and do the assignments. The financial therapy courses are going to be a little bit more paper driven. So if you can crank out papers quickly, then, that might not take you as much time. But like Dr. C mentioned, the investments class, I would definitely plan on 10 hours at least a week, if not more. But then the insurance class may be a little less than 8 hours a week. So 8 to 10 is kind of a good estimation there of time taking, that you would need to take to read and study and do all those types of things.
Thanks. So there's a question from Angie about moving into the PhD program. So we do not require a master's to enter the PhD program, but it's not common that students will enter directly. It's not that we are not open to it. We just have to find the right fit, right background, right time for that. So if you're in that scenario where you have a bachelor's and maybe you're interested in going straight for the PhD, I would honestly recommend this. Related to the PhD program, it's probably good to have a conversation. Related to that, it's probably really good to have a conversation to understand that fit. The one thing there is the PhD program is, by K-State requirements, a 90 credit hour program. If you have a master's, you can transfer in 30, which would then get it to 60 hours. If you come straight from an undergraduate degree or you don't have a master's degree, then you may have to take the full 90 hours at K-State. You would go through a process with Tira to validate all of this stuff. Now, let's say, for example, Angie, if you have an MBA, then I would likely just apply straight to the PhD program. You transfer in some hours, but anyway, Tira can talk to you more about that specific scenario. But Tara, anything else you'd add on that one?
I would just say we do on occasion have students that go through the master's program that have, that then apply to the PhD program. But I guess what I would just say about that is just because you're in our master's program doesn't necessarily mean that you'll automatically be in our PhD program like some other programs. That's the case for some other programs, but for ours, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll automatically be accepted to that. Our students still have to go through the same application process. Granted, if you've been working with some of the professors that teach kind of in both, that's helpful because they kind of know you, they know what kind of work you can produce. But so again, that's just kind of an individual student situation on that is what I would say.
Sure. Can you comment about what's required in the recommendations? Is it a letter of reference? What is required for that?
Yeah, so the grad school has actually made it fairly easy for recommenders. So basically you add their email address into the application. As soon as you pay the fee and submit the application, emails will go directly to those recommenders. And it's essentially a form that they fill out, and they can attach their own letter if they'd like, or they can just type in their own letter in the spot provided in the grad school form. It literally takes them 10 to 15 minutes to do. They kind of, write their name, write how they know you, answer about 10 questions, and then write in the little spot provided and submit it right back to the grad school. So it's fairly simple. For the PhD course or the PhD program. Obviously, you know, if you have professors or other people that can write letters for you, that's great. If you're a career changer, I mean, we understand that you're not necessarily going to have recommenders maybe in the field, and that's okay. We are a little bit lenient for the CFP, the PFP certificate program, as well as the master's, because we don't want to be a roadblock for anybody. We want to help you reach your goals, and so you can use your current employer, you can use coworkers. If you have a past professor you'd like to use, that's fine too. But you can feel free to reach out to me too if you need kind of some helpful ideas. But we don't want to stand in anybody's way. We want to be helpful here, and this is a great field to go into and a great program. And so we're here to help you reach and meet your goals, not be a roadblock. So
thanks, T. A little mental check for the two of us. There's already 8 questions waiting. We only have 19 minutes, so we'll probably have to be a little bit more concise.
Gotcha.
On that. Await, I think Tira really answered your questions, but we do view it as a completely separate process related to the master's and the PhD, because our master's isn't a research degree. Although some students have taken research electives, that I would say probably has made them a little bit more competitive because they know what they're talking about a little bit more when they apply to the PhD. But we do view that as a completely separate evaluation. No necessary leg up at all from that master's. If you're not sure if you want a PhD, want to go through the master's and take an elective through our research clusters, that would be an awesome opportunity. Related to teaching online, there traditionally is. It's a little bit different environment this year with fun COVID going on. But generally speaking, yes, there are opportunities to teach, especially in our introductory classes for PhD students that are remote. You are paid as an adjunct for those classes. Related to funding opportunities, we do not have research or teaching assistantships at this time for remote students. Now, if you are a student that would be interested in coming to Manhattan, we can have a different conversation about whether that is the right fit. We do not have a formal application process to that. We don't do it regularly, but I would welcome a conversation about that. We have a question about CFRE. So there's a fundraising, an individual with a fundraising background. I would say that we have quite a few out of our own foundation actually that have come through our program that are have that background and are coming to do the financial planning content. I think the question is based more around the master's at the PhD level. We would of course be interested in that content at the master's level. Generally speaking, there is some overlap with that. Tira, do you have any more thoughts on that particular one? Tira? No,
I'm
okay. Cool. So Tony's asking a question about opportunities to get in research. So the best opportunity, if you're strictly doing the certificate in financial therapy, would be the theory and research class, which you would do with Dr. Megan McCoy, who, if you just Google her, you'll see, oh my God, she's amazing. She has regularly conducted and published research with students out of that class. It tends to be more literature review based because you don't have a lot of the technical skills for statistics and things like that, although sometimes she'll pull in a grad student to help do that. But if you're in the certificate in financial therapy, that is your best bet, and it is really good opportunities both to learn how to, on one hand, understand that research. Maybe you don't want to do it yourself, but you can understand that research and apply it in your practice. Or if you do want to gain those skills, that would be the major class where you can do that. If you expand out to the master's, there might be opportunities for an elective there. Tyler has a question whether you can take 624 concurrently with your first class. T.
So are you? I would just maybe my question to that would be: are you talking about for the financial therapy coursework, or are you talking about the PFP like certificate? the master's degree. Typically, we like people to do it first if you feel like you need that fundamental content for the PFP certificate or the master's program. If it's for the financial therapy certificate, we can kind of look at that a little bit more, at which class you would start with, and kind of discuss that a little bit more. You can send me an email kind of with your situation.
Thanks, T. So we have a question from Joseph, who's taking investments, tax, and insurance at an accredited program, but then graduating. Can these transfer into the master's program? So Joseph, this is a little bit nuanced. I'm assuming if you're graduating, you're taking it at the undergraduate level. And so no, you cannot transfer in undergraduate level for graduate credits, but we can do a couple of different things for you. If you just want to sit for the CFP exam, you could just take the content left, and you can round out your CFP education. If you wanted to do the master's program, basically we can create a custom degree for you. You would still have to take 30 credit hours, but we could make sure it's only credits that actually apply to you if you've already taken those at the undergraduate level. Anything to add there, Tiara?
Nope, that was good.
Okay. Lynn asks if there is a specific master's degree that is preferable to a PhD program. No, not at all. We have some come in that have very little research experience. Let's say they have more of an MBA. And we have some come in that have gone through maybe a finance analysis where they've got pretty rigorous experience with that stuff. The way that we view it is we basically start from scratch. It's helpful if you have experience, but if you don't, that's okay. We're looking for right fit more than anything else. Elena's asking related to the PFP. So she completed what is a very good track in the CFP through extension. That is a question that we'd have to look at your transcript for. I believe through extension, that is not for credit. So that would be a little bit harder. That said, the life therapy at Golden Gate, I know typically is for graduate credit, and that could likely transfer into your, you can fix me here, but generally speaking, you can transfer in 9 credit hours from the master's from a different university. And so we would be, you would need to work with Tiara, but likely knowing that's Dave Yeski's program at the master's level, likely that would transfer in, but you would need to work directly with Tiara on that. Joseph asks versus the master's versus the CFP. So it just depends. So you can get the certificate and be done. It's 18 credit hours. You save a little bit of money. The full master's just is an additional 4 courses. I'll tell you, Joseph, sometimes we have folks that aren't sure that'll start in the certificate that elect to go to the master's. If you start in the master's though, you save an application fee. And some students will then opt to just finish after, they'll opt to finish after that certificate if they decide not to move on to the master's. If you want to game that system, I'd have a conversation with Tiara to help understand it. But really it comes related to the skill set that you're wanting to get. The CFP, you can get certified in practice. Depends on if you want to add that extra layer, the behavioral finance content, the financial behavior content through financial therapy, or more of the applied technical. So it's up to you as you relate to that. Tiara, anything else on that one?
Yeah, I just want to add really quick. You have 6 years. The grad school policy states that once you start a master's program, you have 6 years to complete it. So if you think that you may want to complete it within that time frame, but you may take a semester or 2 off again to sit for the exam, then it would be in your benefit just to apply to the master's program, knowing that you have that time limit of 6 years to complete.
Great. So Giselle, it looks like you're asking, so you have an MBA, but you're really still interested in the financial planning content, not interested in the PhD. So I'll try to answer it from that perspective. So just so you know, if you get a master's out of the program and you choose, actually, hopefully by the time you would graduate, the advanced planner track will be approved as a certificate. So likely by the time you graduate, for certain, if you do the financial planning track and the financial therapy track, you're going to earn the graduate certificates as well as the master's. So in your scenario, as I read it, if you came in and did the master's program, you would likely earn the CFP certificate and the financial therapy certificate. Given you're an AFC, that tends to be the path that our AFCs take related to that behavioral content. So it just depends on your goals. There, as Tiara mentioned, there's a timeline, but you'll just have to decide what makes sense for you. You would, yeah. Tiara, anything to add to that one?
Just the CFP content courses will give you, I think, maybe some of that technical content that you're looking for to better serve your clients. So that's, that's not a bad pairing that you have there.
No. Craig, that is a great question. So a little bit of history. It's probably been 4 years now, but K-State used to be a part of the GP Idea. K-State is still, sorry, our degree used to be a part of the Great Plans, the GP Idea program, which basically allows universities to come together to provide a joint degree. So for example, we taught 2 of the classes for the certificate. Iowa State taught a class, Missouri taught a class. And between the 8 universities or however many it was, you got a master's degree. And we made an intentional decision about 4 years ago to pull out and do a standalone degree. And really there's 2 reasons for that. One is we had the faculty to offer it. So while GP Idea really helps smaller programs combine to do the master's, we're one of the largest programs in financial planning in the country, and we had the capacity to do so. I'm actually going to give you 3 reasons. The second was that we really felt like it was a K-State degree, and we wanted to control that content a little bit more so that we were teaching you all of those classes. As Tiara mentioned, we have live sessions every week, and we felt like we could deliver really high quality content. And so we pulled that in. The third is if you go to GP Idea, they do not have the advanced planning content. They do not have the financial therapy content. They have a little bit of a mixture of content. They do have a research methods class. They do have some electives that we don't have. Yeah, that's sort of the GP Idea story, why we pulled out and sort of what makes us stand apart there. Tiara, anything else you'd share about? To be clear, GP Idea is a very good program for us. It just made sense to be independent given where we are. But Tiara, anything to add?
Just the interest in like he said, the interest in the advanced planner content and the financial therapy. A lot of the students that I worked with that were in that program just wanted the financial therapy content. And so it just made sense. We just basically met consumer need with that. But it's a great program too. The hours are a little bit different. The GP Idea program is 36 credit hours. Ours is 30. I think their tuition might be a little less, but it all works out in the wash because you have to take more classes with them. So it is a great program. But if you really want that financial therapy content or some of those advanced courses, then that's our degree.
So I don't think I missed any questions. I would welcome any last. Tiara, anything that's on your mind?
Just reach out to me if you have individual questions. I'm more than happy to help. I know Diane and Brittany feel the same. We want to help you reach your goals. It's an excellent field to go into. Lots and lots and lots of opportunity. We have firms contacting us every week from all over the country wanting to hire students. So it's definitely a good field to go into.
So a couple things here. Cost per credit hour, Tiara, it's about $2,100 per course. So that's for 3 credit hours. So I guess $700 per credit hour to answer your question directly there. The GRE GMAT requirement is only for the PhD program. That is not required for the master's program. I'd also share 90% of students will talk with us as they're going through the application process. You're not going to bother us. We love to be helpful. Generally speaking, this is what I share. If you have questions about the content around the PhD, what it's used for, I'm probably your Huckleberry. I'm glad to connect with you. I have, one of those fancy, you click on my calendar and schedule time. If you have questions about how the program actually works or applications, or I don't know that, Tiara knows that all. So filter between the 2 of us depending on your questions and needs. And if you want, you can bug us both. I think we're nice folks overall. Joel, that's a great question related to remote workforce. Probably in some aspects, but it's all about building relationships with clients. And a lot of that can be done virtually. There's a lot of folks that still believe it happens face-to-face and through networking. We'll see a shift. I'm not sure how far that shift will go, Joel. And a part of that is also going to be the overlay of technology. It's going to continue to move the person side being focused on that relationship and goal alignment, and you're going to have more reliance on technology for some of the technical recommendations. That's my thoughts for what it's worth, the price of admission that you paid for this particular venture. Giselle, yes, the master's program is only 4 more than a CFP certificate. Tira, do you understand Solomon's question?
Yeah, I think he's asking about the CFP exam, perhaps. And if so, how that works essentially is once you successfully pass the 6 courses, I submit your name to the CFP board, and then you are free to take the exam whenever you choose. The exam's given in November, February, and July. And all of our students do it different. Some take it immediately, some study for several months, some wait a year and get working experience. But the important part is that your name is submitted after you successfully complete those courses, and you're free to take it when you would like. And yes, it is a very difficult test, and it definitely is proctored. It's a long test.
And then, oh, okay. So I think maybe the question is, are exams in class?
Oh, I see. In the class.
Yes.
Do you want to take that?
It all depends. It all depends, and I hate to tell you that. And you'll get clear expectations from the professor before the class about how they're going to deal with it. I'd say we try to rely more on projects than typical exams. There actually is really good technology, though, to proctor virtually. That's pretty low cost as well at this point in time. So I'm giving you the unhelpful, it depends answer. So the CFT exam that is hosted, and this will have to be the last question because we're out of time. The CFT exam is hosted out of the Financial Therapy Association, so you will have to take the exam through them. We do provide a lot of the content that's necessary for that. Do you want to answer specifically to the CFT? I haven't answered this question recently, T.
Yeah, so we are an educational partner with them. And so there are a few different parts to that exam. You have to have some mental health work or coursework in your background as well. If that applies to you, you've taken the financial therapy coursework, typically, yes, you're free to go work towards that exam. The good thing about it is that Dr. Lertz and Dr. McCoy, 2 of our financial therapy instructors, are both in that organization and help with all of those things. So they can definitely lead you down the right path, but there is that mental health piece along with the financial planning piece that has to be met in order to sit for that exam. So depending on your background, possibly.
All right. I think I'll turn it back over to Diane or Brittany to round us out.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you, Tira and Dr. C, for that wonderful presentation. And I also want to thank everyone for joining us here tonight. If you're ready to apply, please visit our website at online.ksu.edu and select how to apply for detailed instructions. And as a reminder, everyone who has registered for this webinar will also be receiving a recording via email as soon as it's available. And finally, if you have any additional questions that we didn't cover tonight, please don't hesitate to reach out. Feel free to also find more information about the graduate programs on the department website, which is www.ipfp.k-state.edu. And I provided that link in the chat feature as well. And lastly, I just wanted to remind everyone that we do have application fee waivers available for those interested in the master's degree program. So feel free to reach out to us at online.ksu.edu for more information. And again, thank you everyone for joining, and I hope you have a great night.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Have a good night.
Thank you.